Okay, one more time. So I'm just looking at situations, right? You got people who complain so much about what other folks do and how wrong they. Oh my God. This bus done hit the pole. Oh, it was a car wreck. Lord help me. I mean, that's crazy because if you have a car wreck and hit the short bus, you better have some good insurance. Not just to mention kids, handicapped children. Oh my God. Anyway, so I look at some of the complaints people bring to the table, and I wonder. Oftentimes, I wonder, do they while they're talking to me? I'm wondering, what fault do you have in this? Where in this are you taking ownership of what you did versus saying you picked the wrong person, or especially relationships, just dealing with counseling? It's like, have you ever taken ownership to say, maybe my conversation, I can improve my ability to communicate what I'm trying to say, or maybe I can do some other things to help out the situation. It's just like when it's all complaint about the other person and you take no responsibility for what you've done. And I've been a victim of this in a less mature state. I just wonder, like, what's your relationship really with God? And then, because it's like, are you just telling God, or are you listening? Are you receiving? Do you take time to be quiet enough to let God speak to your heart and say, hey, look, you was wrong on this situation right here? Or even if you hear that you was wrong, like, do you recognize or even receive? And male or female, I'm just wondering, like, how many people recognize how selfish they are. I look at certain relationships that I've maintained where I've just let a lot of things just slide, because it's like, why nitpick over something I can look over? This is just how that person is. Now, if it gets to a point where it irritates me, I'll say something. Like, if you doing something that makes me feel like I'm in danger or something like that, or I have to be in a certain space with you and something is really bothering me, I will say something. I will confront it. I don't have a problem with confrontation. But some things, you just have no terror. It's not worth it. It's not worth the challenge. It's not worth the energy when you have no territory. If I have no territory there, what am I fighting for? It's like, seeing a dispute between a couple and nobody's laying hands or anything. They just embarrassing each other. I have no dog in that fight. Matter of fact, I'm trying to get away from that whole energy because it's none of my business. If I'm renting a space and I tell the owner, hey, this is something wrong with the furnace, and the owner doesn't fix that, I have a choice. Is it gonna cost me more to move, or to go ahead and fix the furnace, since this is where I'm staying, and negotiate something with the owner on the rent on the back end? versus if I'm renting and it's a crack in the concrete. It's not my property. I'm not gonna fix that. So it's like, what's the win when we fight or when we taking ownership of stuff? So, and I know I kind of went through a rabbit trail with that, but just certain things just not worth the energy that it's gonna take to deal with all the repercussions of it. Certain things are just too expensive to keep paying for financially, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. I mean, certain jobs I won't take on because it's just too much on my body. I'm not finna do that. I mean, large tile jobs I do not do because I need my knees for other things. I mean, small tile job I do. I mean, I'm always gonna wear knee pads, but still, even with the knee pads, it's still wear and tear on your body and back. What's your win? Is it just finances? Is it just to say I'm right? Is it just a principle? I don't even argue about the Bible. I discuss it. And I challenge people about certain things, but I'm not finna sit and get no full out argument about what you believe versus what I believe. Hey, I mean, when you keep trying to take me there, I'm just like, okay, you win, you got it. That's what you believe, that's what you believe. I mean, at the end of the day, I believe what I believe because it works for me. I mean, I've learned to listen to God and Him tell me, hey, you know, it was something in my life that was bothering me. He said, I don't want you to pray that. I want you to tell it to be gone. I was like, whoa, that was a rhema word from God. And they come from listening. You know, you can do a good thing or you can do the right thing. And I'm just wondering, like, how many of us are doing the right thing? Going back full circle with the relationship thing. Like, you can complain about your mate, but what you doing as a mate? Like, look at this full circle now. What are you really doing as a mate? Other than saying what you all, you know, throwing up in his or her face, I do this, I do that, I do this. I mean, think about it now. What are you really doing? I mean, this one you chose, this one you married, it was for some reason, something got you there. So what happened that made it stop? And have you ever stopped enough to recognize that, are you loving yourself? Like, for real, are you loving yourself? So, I just say, if you're not loving yourself, you're not loving God, and you can't love your neighbor. You gotta have this relationship with God. I've learned the most powerful scripture throughout New and Old Testament: love God first, love yourself, and love your neighbor as yourself. I mean, Old Testament and New Testament. But anyway, you have a choice to do what you want to do in life. I choose life over strife. Deuteronomy 30 and 17. I said before you this day, a choice. Choose life or choose death. And through 19, it has something to the effect of choose life. God recommends that you choose life, His life, because He created life. And He promised you life in abundance, His way. Anyway, may God amaze you. Have a good dominating day. Make it happen. All right, y'all. Bye.